You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Is the second staging of the Jamaica National Foundation Social Enterprise Boost Initiative, SEBI BizMix, the perfect place for entrepreneurs and business people to be. Business Access TV is here with the highlights. I'm Amita Prasad-Webb. Please stay tuned.
Representatives of the social enterprise community, that includes everybody here. All of you are representatives of the social enterprise community. Whether or not you're a social entrepreneur, we are the SEBI Accelerator members. Our project sponsors, JN Foundation, and I am seeing some representatives from the management and executive team of JN Group. Representative from the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, Claudette Anglin. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we have partners from the PIOJ, the Development Bank of Jamaica, different service providers. All of you really are a part of the social enterprise community, and I want to welcome each of you here tonight. Good evening. It is really my pleasure to welcome you to this evening's second staging of the SEBI Business Mix networking sessions. These sessions really are designed to encourage greater peer collaboration between social entrepreneurs and the wider business community. This evening, we will be focusing on our BiSocial auction, which promises to be a really exciting event. Do you remember the BiSocial launch in December? Any of you were here? That was really exciting. I'm encouraging you to support the growth of social enterprises in Jamaica by using the power in your purchase, because only the power in your purchase can sustain this rapidly growing sector. Our objective at the JN Foundation is to stimulate the social enterprise sector to achieve leaps and bounds in growth. Therefore, we need your undivided support to make this possible. I encourage you to support the BiSocial campaign simply by purchasing the products and the services being marketed by the social enterprises. On a regular basis, we all purchase products, right? We purchase coffee, we purchase craft items, clothing, accessories, and we access entertainment. However, have you ever stopped to really consider about the impact of your purchase? Do you ever think about who made these products? Who benefits from these purchases? Will your purchase influence the company's sustainability? Do you think about that? Therefore, why not consciously support a business or social enterprise which assists in keeping profits in our communities and the wider Jamaican economy, and in turn, address some of the most pressing challenges that we are having among vulnerable groups. Social enterprises such as Def Can Coffee, JAD Binders, Superior Craft and More, Eco Farms, Avant Academy of Music, Breche, and many others. These enterprises are making a difference every day in the communities, and all of us here today can help them to continue to make that difference. Simply purchasing from the social enterprise, you can make a difference. In fact, wherever you see the BiSocial trademark, are you seeing the BiSocial trademark? The BiSocial trademark, Buy for Good, BiSocial. It signals that the business is a social enterprise. Wherever you see that BiSocial trademark, that business is a social enterprise. I urge you to support the social enterprise sector using the power in your purchase. Once again, thank you for being here to participate in another segment of our business mix sessions, and do enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Talk to us more about the term buy social.
Buy social is our way of encouraging consumers to use the power of their purchase to support social enterprise. Every time you buy from a social enterprise, you actually help that social enterprise to carry out their social mission. So SEBI, in partnership with Jane Foundation and USAID, has created a unique trademark, a buy social trademark, which seeks to alert consumers that the enterprises bearing the trademark are actually social enterprises.
Make the distinction between the members of the SEBI Incubator and the SEBI Accelerator.
Okay, so when SEBI started out 2013 and into 2015, it was about proving that the social enterprise model could work in Jamaica. So much of the work we did was to introduce persons to the social enterprise model, and we did that through two stages of business incubation. So we took the enterprises from, some of them were from concept stage to actually creating products that are tradable in the market. And now, having gone through the incubator program, our enterprises have been formalized, they have good consumer base, and they are ready for growth. And that is what the Business Accelerator program is about. It is about getting the enterprises ready for growth. So we look at different areas in their business, whether or not it's their people management, it's the strategy, it's how they execute the strategy, how they finance that growth. So that is really the difference. The incubation was startup, acceleration is about growth.
Okay. What qualifies these members? How do you go about selecting these people or these businesses?
SEBI is really an open project. So we really open our call for applications to everyone to apply. So we generally publish our calls in the media and encourage persons to be a part of the program. Of course, we have criteria that we look for. First of all, they must have a social mission, because SEBI focus on that niche in business, social enterprises. So they must have an environmental or societal mission. And, you know, at the incubator stage, it was really about having great concepts. But for the accelerator stage, it was really having tradable products.
Compare this year's staging to last year's staging.
Last year, we really introduced our bisocial trademark. So it was really new, and was a lot of excitement, because the bisocial trademark really ties the community of social enterprises together. It is that common mark that everybody can use. So it created that sense of community in social enterprises. It was a lot of excitement last year. This year, I think the energy is still there. Based on the turnout, people still are interested in social enterprises. And all the items that were a part of the bisocial auction were sold at really good prices. And because people are bought into the notion of using that power in their purchase. They want to support social enterprises. Not everybody can necessarily donate funds or give of their time. But the simple act of purchasing is one way that everybody can support a social enterprise. So,
what's next for SEBI?
SEBI is now in that final stage as a project. However, the social enterprise sector is growing. So many other organizations are on board delivering social enterprise development initiatives, and there is a need for coordination of all of those efforts. And so SEBI is transitioning into Social Enterprise Jamaica, which is an advocacy and networking organization just for social enterprise. So there's another another phase, but it won't be a project, rather a permanent a permanent structure, organization. As a matter of fact, the revised MSME and entrepreneurship policy calls for such an organization as one strategy to continue to support the development of social enterprise. And so that is the next step for us.
Link Your Purpose is an online career development platform. We're a social enterprise that helps young people to identify and fulfill their career goals.
How has SEBI helped your business?
I would say that SEBI has given Link Your Purpose wings. We have been working on the idea for a few years in terms of developing the business plan, but really when we became a part of the SEBI program, we got real practical support that allowed us to actually develop a product that we could take into schools. In terms of the marketing and publicity, people knowing about us, SEBI has really helped us with that, and also branding, created our branding identity.
Why is it important that we buy social?
So it's very important to buy social, because when you buy social, you're not only helping a company to generate revenues and profits, but you're also helping a community. You're helping persons who are unable to pay for certain services, and you're helping the country at large. And so that is why I would say to anybody, buy social, because the money does not go into our pockets as social entrepreneurs, but it goes back into the business so that we can help more people to fulfill their goals or their dreams.
So what's next for Link Your Purpose?
So at this stage, we are currently recruiting online career mentors. So we're looking for professionals or persons who have expertise in different fields, because we are actually the first company who are actually taking career mentors to young people so that they can speak with somebody who's already practicing in the field that they're interested in.
Well, Inspire 365, Inspire INZZPIRE, is a spin-off from the word inspire. 365 means every day of the year. So we seek to inspire every day of the year. Inspire 365 was born out of my recovery, still on the route to recover from depression. And I know that there are persons out there who are going through similar things that I went through, and you're at that dark place, and just some words of encouragement will uplift the spirit.
So there are pieces of jewelry. Talk to us about the material.
All right, I mainly use copper, gemstones, and a little bit of brass every now and then.
Talk to us about your affiliation with the SEBI program.
All right, so I applied to the SEBI Accelerator program earlier this year, and I was among the lucky few who got through. And we have been engaged in a number of training sessions. Trust me, it's like a boot camp, but I'm enjoying it. I'm learning as much as I can, because prior to SEBI, it was mainly making the jewelry, going out there, selling, interacting with people. But at this point, I am actually connecting that purpose and getting into getting to that point where I'm actually fulfilling my mission, what I really set out to do.
What advice would you give to budding entrepreneurs?
Entrepreneurs, if there is something that you want to do, hold fast to it. I had a 9-to-5. I was making the jewelry while I was doing the 9-to-5, and the time came where I had to give the business my all, and that's where I'm at now. So just, if there's something that you want to do, your gut feeling tell you that that's your purpose, that's your mission, that's what you should be doing to change lives, just go for it.
Anything else you want to add?
Inspire 365 is here to inspire. When you support Inspire 365, you are supporting our mission, you're supporting our cause, and we're helping to lift one other person from depression.
All right, so Brescia now is a design and manufacturing company. We do mainly backpacks at the moment, so anything for school, anything for work, anything for your casual. Once you have something to take from point A to point B in style, then Brescia is the company to come to where you can get it fully customized as well.
What phase would you say your business is at right now?
So we started in the summer of 2015. So we're 3 years now, and we're just about at the point where we're looking to scale. We're looking to get to that next level where we can cover the entire population in Jamaica, then take it to Caribbean, then take it to diaspora, then globally. So we're at the point where we're looking to scale so we can boost productivity and we can ramp up the areas in which our products can be found. And that's basically where we are at this point.
So talk to us about your involvement with SEBI.
Right. So we are a social enterprise at Brescia, and so our involvement with SEBI is natural. We hire in a particular way, so we have young people from different underserved communities who are part of our team. We have single-parent mothers. We've worked with deaf people who are part of our team as well. And so we want to help people make their dreams happen, and that's one of the mantras at Brescia. We take that seriously, and so our involvement is wanting to push that social enterprise platform, push that message forward, meaning that when you're doing business, it shouldn't just be for money. It should be about the profit, it should be about the planet, but it should also be about the people and the lives that you're adding value to and the lives that you're impacting, and we're all for that at Brescia.
Talk to us about your experience with the initiative. How is it thus far?
It's been great. I mean, it's been a lot of work, and it's been sometimes classroom kind of vibe. It's been sometimes a business mixer. It's been having persons with more experience in business coming in to share with the group of us who are in the accelerator program. It's been uplifting. It's been motivational. It's enlightening. At the stage that we're at, it's important that we're getting information and we're growing, because if you're looking to scale, you need to be feeding yourself with information and knowledge so that you can then, impart some of that to your team and have a firmer understanding in terms of how you're going to move this enterprise from where it's at to another level, how you're going to move from where you're at now and scale the enterprise to being sustainable and one that is a household name for us at Brescia, not just in Jamaica, but across the region and globally, and that's what we're going after. And SEBI has helped to push us forward in that regard.
Stay tuned for more SEBI Biz Mix after the break.
Crow Jamaica Risk Management Services, RMS. Risk management has become indispensable to a company's business operations and management strategy in this complex environment nowadays. Crow Jamaica risk management experts help to turn every risk into an opportunity. We are experienced in providing customized solutions to manage risks and increase transparency and accountability of the companies. Our core services include internal audit, internal control review, corporate governance, corporate compliance, etc. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email people@crowjm.com, website www.crowjm.com.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business. Welcome back and thanks for joining us as Business Access TV covers the highlights of the SEBI Biz Mix right here at Opa Greek Restaurant. I'm Amita. Please stay tuned.
Once we've mentioned the item, spoken about it, one of the two ladies will come on stage, show it to you, and then they'll take it around the room so you can see it, eyebrows, eyeball it, touch it a little bit if it's something that you're really interested in, and then you say, okay, this is how much money I have. Now, for the $3,500 that you have, remember, the value of the item, you can only use your buy social dollars for 50% of whatever that final value is. We're going to tell you what the selling price of the item is. There's going to be a slightly lower starting bidding price, then we're going to go up by either $200 or $500, depending on the value of the item. Still with me? All right. So, are we ready, ladies? Let's do this. Okay, nothing for 3,200. 3,000 going once. 1,000 going twice. Sold! Yes. Yes. It's yours. Like she even. All right, so you see that? She thought she won and she didn't. Then she won and she didn't think she would.
Youth for Sustainable Development is focused on empowering youth to see themselves as partners and drivers of sustainable development and a sustainable future.
Why is it important that we support social enterprises?
Well, the tagline says it's all by for good, by social. When we're supporting social enterprises, we're supporting what is good about Jamaica and what is good about our country, and we're investing in a culture of caring for and caring about our people.
You are an active participant in the bidding process. Talk to me about that.
Well, I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I bid on a number of items, but the one I was lucky enough to get was from Inspire 360. And if you know the story of Inspire 360, it came out of a struggle, and most Jamaicans don't talk a lot about the need for counseling or depression and going through things like that, and Inspire 360 speaks openly about it and allows you to be comfortable knowing that if you've gone through a rough time, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. So I was happy to bid on it and to win it because it's beautiful.
What are the key takeaways for you tonight?
The key takeaways for me tonight was circular economies. So I recognize that, for example, the honey wine was presented in a wine box from Barley's All in Wood, and that's what we have to. That's the stage we have to get to. So we have this social economy, this enterprise of social, this economy of social enterprises. What we need to move to now is where they're supporting each other and other businesses are supporting them in the same way. So the takeaway for me is seeing how I can encourage and also inject myself into facilitating circular economies like that.
So I operate a youth marketing agency that gives youth university students job opportunities across the island.
So you were a bidder here tonight. What did you bid on?
I bid on a Brescia bag and I bid on honey sticks.
Did you win?
Yes, of course.
Both of them?
Both of them.
Talk to us about the importance of supporting social enterprises.
So the aspect of social enterprise is really interesting because one, you're helping a social cause such as unemployment, disability, waste management, and of course you're making money at the same time doing a social good. So it's putting two together and making a big pie of everything.
So how did you find out or know about the event?
So I'm a part of the SEBI Accelerator Program as one of the organizations here called UCA. So we're the youth marketing agency arm that supplied other companies with like young talents, interns, temporary staff for university students to gain experience in these different enterprises along the Caribbean.
So it's your second time here. Talk to us about your experience tonight.
It was wonderful. I had fun, and one of the things that's just really encouraging to see young people in business and also trying to push the social enterprise aspect of it, doing business for a good cause. So it's like a two-pronged approach. And, you know, I was just telling a friend about Deaf Can Coffee. That's a powerful movement, you know, expanding and displaying what the deaf community can do. So social good and also in a profitable way. And it's just encouraging and inspiring to upcoming entrepreneurs, people who want to get in business, and especially if you want to do business and also contribute to community development, because I personally have an entrepreneurship project that I want to get going, or, you know, it's underway, and it's something that gives me ideas to say how you can make money and at the same time do good for your community, do good for your country.
Talk to us about the bidding experience. How was it?
Unfortunately, I never got to bid. Well, I got outbidded, but I think it's awesome because, you know, in a way, in an affordable setting, it's just fun and it gets you engaged and gets you to actually appreciate the products and services that's been offered, and also the creative way that it's been packaged. So appreciating another element or dimension of Brand Jamaica creatively offered to us. So it was awesome.
So the Sebi Biz Mix is here tonight at the Opa Greek restaurant. Again, so it's the second time here.
And there can be more.
Why?
Well, this is a great location. Come on. Opa Greek Restaurant, Reggae Mill Bar. We definitely like to support. And we think that JN Foundation is doing an amazing job. Amazing, I don't like that word. A great job. He's doing a great job bridging the gap between individuals, businesses, and innovation. So we definitely want to be part of that, and I definitely applaud what they do, and I definitely support what they do. I also want to say that I love Business Access TV. I think you guys have done a wonderful job bringing the news, the business news, and not just in Jamaica, but reaching out there in the whole Caribbean, and who knows, the world one day, right?
Right.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you. Now you are a bidder tonight. Of this lovely 360 recycle manufacturing. I guess it's a shell, it's a plant shell, right? It's a planter.
It's a wonderful job. You know what? This is made from recycled materials. I met the artist. They do some wonderful things. He just showed me a three-dimensional Bob Marley he did for somewhere in Montego Bay. I'm not sure exactly where. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, is Bob back? So I love the work, and the fact that he's using stuff that people throw away. I believe this is made from styrofoam containers and cups.
Right.
So I thought it looked good. I'm sure it can find a home somewhere. Here we have plenty of space. You know the place. Most people know the place. Fridays at the Devon, right? Throwback Saturdays, right? A little plug there, right?
So it's the Sebi Biz Mix now. What's next for Opa and the Reggae Mill Bar?
Well, OPA has been a great institution in Jamaica. We moved to Devon House from the previous location about a year and a half ago. And because we're at Devon House, we have included more food, not just Greek, but we'll have a fusion of international cuisine in addition to the Greek. So you still find the Greek stuff that people have loved over the last 5 years, but now there are other things where, let's say, a business visitor that might not necessarily want Greek, that might want to try something international or Jamaican, we are offering that too. And Reggae Mill, you know our Fridays, you know our Saturdays. There even talks about doing a Reggae Mill in other Caribbean nations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a wonderful night.
On behalf of the Business Access production team, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Sebi Biz Mix right here at the Opa Greek restaurant. I've been your host, Amita Prasad-Webb, and thank you for tuning in to Business Access TV, serious about business.
It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test. It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test.
Free eye testing is back and it's here to stay. Island Eyewear offers free eye testing every day, all day at all locations island-wide. Conditions apply. Make your appointment today at www.islandeyewear.com or call us 630-1180. Island Eyewear, your style, your price.
It's Island Hour, free eye test.
We are serious about the business of real estate, so catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Coming up in our program, we'll be tackling health as the CEO of the National Health Fund is here on Get the Facts. Then later, we find out more about how we can exercise while having fun on a bicycle in the Breadbasket Parish. You don't want to miss a minute, so stay tuned. The National Health Fund is an agency that provides financial support to our national healthcare system in order to improve its effectiveness and affordability for all Jamaicans. This week on Get the Facts, we are joined by CEO Everton Anderson. That's next.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Enthros Campbell. Now, when you hear the name National Health Fund, you think of a card that allows certain individuals to get free medication or medication at a reduced cost. But there's more to the agency, as it also supports the development of our national healthcare system. Chief Executive Officer Everton Anderson is here to tell us about the broad operations of the NHF. Mr. Anderson, welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Great. Remind us of the mandate of the NHF. What was the organization established to do and how it is funded?
Right, the National Health Fund was set up some 15 years ago to provide support to healthcare in Jamaica. And at the time, it was thought that the agency would cover some key illnesses in terms of the medication aspect of care. And I think we started with 13 chronic conditions in terms of coverage, and it really provides support to persons, Jamaicans specifically, who have those chronic conditions. We also provide support to public institutions in terms of support for capital projects, supporting health promotion programs, and just generally providing support in great areas of need in healthcare in Jamaica.
Yes, and the direct benefits to us, Jamaicans. Who benefits? How can they apply? Let us talk about that.
Right. Well, the NHF and JADEP cards are our major platforms for offering health servicing to beneficiaries. For the NHF card, once you're diagnosed with any of the chronic illnesses listed, and we now cover 17 conditions, I think we recently added 2 sickle cell in 2015 and lupus a few months ago. Once you're diagnosed with any of those conditions, we have our application form. Your doctor verifies you have the condition. You then come into any one of our offices and you get your card within 15 to 30 minutes. Initially, the benefit was mainly offered through our Kingston office, but we have listened to our stakeholders and we now have access to the NHF card on a same-day basis in every single parish in Jamaica. For the JADEP card, it's a card for persons 60 years and above. So once you get to 60 and you are diagnosed with any of the chronic illnesses covered, then you can also get the JADEP benefits.
All right, so the JADEP card is for 60 years, person 60 years and over, but
Yes.
the NHF is for any age.
Any Jamaican, regardless of your economic situation, regardless of your age, once you have that chronic illness, then you can qualify. Then you qualify for the NHF benefit.
Right. About how many persons do we have benefiting now from these two initiatives?
Right. Our total beneficiary count to include JADEP and NHF is about 818,000 persons who are enrolled on these programs. 818,000 Jamaicans.
Right. Can you speak specifically to the illnesses that are covered?
Right. I mentioned earlier we cover 17 illnesses.
Yes.
And this is based on the illnesses that most Jamaicans would be affected by. So it includes asthma, arthritis, diabetes, hypertension, and other chronic illnesses, lupus. We also cover breast cancer in terms of the drugs, prostate cancer, and a number of other illnesses.
Right. So in terms of the cancer, you do the drugs, but do you do some of the treatments like chemotherapy or radiotherapy?
No, we only do the drugs. We actually provide a larger subsidy for those drugs because of the high cost of cancer care. So we provide drugs through our card programs for breast cancer and prostate cancer.
Right. Any plans to increase the number of illnesses? If so, what are some of these and how soon can we expect?
Well, we have an active discussion at the fund as to coverage. It's largely based on the funding that we have. So we go through a process of analysis every year to determine what is possible. And as you notice, in the last 3 years or 4 years, we've added 2 new illnesses. So we're always looking at new illnesses that can be covered.
Ms. Anderson, tell us a little bit more about the application process for the 2 cards. The NHF is, how is that done? Persons have to take a form to their doctors who would verify. Expand on it for me.
Right. The application process is very simple for both cards and similar. The first thing is that you have to be diagnosed as having any of the chronic illnesses. You then get your physician, your doctor, to sign on the form indicating and confirming that you have the illness. You can then get either JADEP or NHF card at any of our locations island-wide. Initially, we would offer a 7-day service at our head office, but we moved to a same-day service at head office, and we've expanded that same-day service, and it's available in every single parish in Jamaica. So if you get a diagnosis at midday, you get the form completed half an hour later and get to our office. You leave with your benefit card within 15 to 30 minutes in every single parish, because really wanted to broaden access and really send a message that we're serious about providing an excellent service to our customers.
Tell us about the costs as it relates to both cards, the different cards.
Well, for the JADEP card, the drugs are free of cost, except that beneficiaries contribute to the dispensing fee, which is $40 per item, up to a maximum of $240. So no beneficiary will pay more than $240. For the NHF card program, we provide a subsidy. And
$240?
Maximum contribution for the JADEP program.
Yes.
For the NHF card, it is a different arrangement where we pay a subsidy depending on the illness. It ranges between 40 up to about 70%. We provide a greater coverage for conditions like breast cancer and prostate cancer, where the cost of those drugs tend to be a lot more. And the beneficiaries will then co-pay.
Yes.
And in some cases, they have both the NHF card and a health insurance card, which leads to a lower co-pay, which allows greater access.
Right. So I have a health insurance with a private company, and I have the NHF card.
Right.
I can use them together.
Right.
And there's no charge for getting the card.
No, the card is free of cost, and the process of accessing is really good. And I have to give the highest commendation to our 476 private pharmacy providers who support the program and have helped us to deliver what we consider to be an excellent service to the people of this country.
Okay, let's take a break now and we continue with more on the National Health Fund. Stay with us.
Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, celebrating over 20 years of investment in community development. JSIF has forged relationships with international funding partners as well as private and public sector entities. Let us continue to invest to reduce vulnerabilities. Let us build our social capital and resilient infrastructures to ensure full participation in Vision 2030. JSIF, investing for community development.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We continue our discussion with Chief Executive Officer of the National Health Fund, Everton Anderson. Mr. Anderson, the NHF is responsible for procuring and distributing pharmaceuticals, as well as managing the public sector pharmacy services. Explain, tell us how that works.
Right. Well, the process started in 2011 when NHF assumed responsibilities for what was then the Health Corporation Limited. So we've moved from that to now providing what we call end-to-end management of pharmaceuticals for the public health system. So we procure drugs through an international competitive tender, we warehouse drugs, and we also get the drugs to the hands of the patients. So it's really a massive operation that we run in that program, and we've seen our numbers move from under 1 million prescriptions annually. Last year we did 2.5 million prescriptions and dispensed over 10 million prescription items to over 500,000 Jamaicans who access care in the public health system. So it's really an awesome task that we have embraced, and I would have to, at this time, recognize the staff of the NHF who have embraced all these changes and have really performed very well despite the challenges that come with offering such a huge service.
Right, so the benefit to us would be that you know what drugs are in the system, and so your clients will be able to access the drugs. You know that the drugs are there, and so we can access them easier. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Yes. So you have now have a faster turnaround time of issuing the cards, but I know that you have other initiatives to benefit your clients. Tell us about that.
Right. I spoke about the pharmacy service earlier, and I just want to speak a little about this. We have moved to really modernize pharmacy in the public health space. Our warehouse, which we inherited, is now ISO certified, and 4 of our large pharmacies are now ISO certified.
What does that mean?
It means that we've added a significant quality element to our processes to ensure that what we do is of maximum benefit to our clients.
Yes.
So we've added a pharmacy management system which enables us to move drugs around in a most efficient way. So the drugs don't belong to Cornwall Regional or KPH, it belongs to the system. So we're able from a macro perspective to look at where the drugs are and to adjust drugs based on patient needs at any point in time. In addition, we've managed to have significant reductions in waiting times through innovative initiatives like quick prescript, scheduled refill, and we are really working with our clients, bearing in mind that long waiting times can be a major barrier to access. So I really want to say that our staff have embraced this service, and it really has made some strides, and we are not done. We will continue to improve.
So this complaint about persons going to the hospital and their relatives having to go outside to get medication, is that a thing of the past? Are you moving towards improving that service?
Well, I think we have made some strides, but we have to contextualize in that the government has a list called the VEN list, vital, essential, and necessary. So at times, if a physician prescribes an item not on the VEN list, then we would not necessarily have that item. So persons will have to go outside. But I think we're now able to measure what we call fill rates, and we're now at between 85-88%, meaning that of every prescription that comes in, we're able to fill 88% of the time.
Very good.
So I think
Good.
that is very important
Yes,
to
it
note.
is. Yes. Talk to us about your drugstore pharmacies.
The drugstore pharmacies are predominant now focused on managing a huge public sector load. As I mentioned, we have moved from about 1 million prescriptions annually to 2.5. We have some locations where we serve 400 to 600 patients per day. That is a very huge undertaking. So we really had to take a very creative, innovative approach to managing the service, bearing in mind that speed in dispensing is only one important factor. Medication safety is also important. So we have really managed to make those pharmacies a lot better, and we have plans to partner with our patients to do even more.
Yes, but people, if I have a prescription that I would take to a regular private pharmacy, if I go to the drugstore pharmacies, do I get the medication at a lower rate at the drugstore pharmacies?
Are you speaking as a private patient?
As a private patient.
Right. Well, we predominantly, as I mentioned, are focused on the public patients. The private patients that we now see would be those cases that we define as special. For example, those items not easily available in the private sector. So we provide cancer drugs, we provide items for hemodialysis patients and other special services.
Right.
But our work predominantly is related to serving the public patients.
Okay, all right. Okay, so tell me about some of the other projects that you are working on to improve the health sector.
Right. Well, initially, the NHF started financing health projects. But for the last few years, we've moved from not only financing these projects, but to actually project management and execution. So we have done so many projects across the country. This year alone, I think it's 1.7 billion in project funding and management that we are in charge of.
Yes.
So we've done major projects.
What are some of these projects?
Elevators, new equipment. Our largest project was the construction of 2 cancer treatment centers, one in Montego Bay, one at St. Joseph's, and the value of that was about $15 million US. And we executed within time without any major cost overrun. We have an excellent project team who really understand that the needs of the public have to coincide with excellent facilities. I think for the most part, the response has been very positive. I would have looked at the core NHF benefits. The customer satisfaction has always been over 95%. For the pharmacies that would have just come on, they are about 85%. And apart from those figures, we have created avenues for patient feedback, which we use as a guide to build service excellence. So I think for the most part, it has been good, but good is never good enough in our sphere.
Yes.
So there are always plans to get better in the interest of the patients that we serve.
Great. Anything on the horizon, like soon, within the next few months or year?
Well, we have a team that says there's no 100% in what we do. So there are always new innovations. We have patient scheduling systems that we're working on now. Our major thing that we're doing in the next few months is a patient education and medication compliance program, recognizing that making the drugs available to clients does not mean that they will take them regularly.
Yes.
So we're actually piloting with the Pharmaceutical Society of Jamaica a program where we will manage 2,000 beneficiaries, manage them, and we actually do research to see what makes them compliant, see if we can implement that on a broader scale throughout Jamaica.
Yes. And before we go, the cards we don't have to renew them, right?
No.
Once you get them, it's for a lifetime.
Once you get them, take care of them. But if you do lose a card, then we can give you a replacement card in the same quick speed in which you would have gotten your original card.
Okay. Mr. Anderson, thank you so very much for sharing with us on the NHF in this week's edition of Get the Facts.
My pleasure.
This has been Get the Facts with our guest, Everton Anderson, who is Chief Executive Officer of the National Health Fund. Until next time, I'm Rose Campbell. Take good care.
St. Elizabeth is dubbed as the breadbasket parish, which means there is a lot to explore and even more to eat. What better way to do it than on a bicycle? I'm guessing that thought never really crossed your mind.
When you think of Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth, you're thinking of swimming, eating fresh fruits and vegetables from neighboring farms, or even the catch of the day. But the area has more to offer, like Red's Cycle Tour.
The name of my business is Red Cycle Tours, and yeah, we offer different rides. That all depends on your fitness level, right? Because what we're doing is promoting sports tourism, you know, in that sense. Keep it local and at the same time fitness and wealth. So the tours, we have like the farm tour, local farm tour here, it's about 2 to 2.5 hours round trip. As we are about to go on a cycling tour, a real adventure that explores Treasure Beach and our environment here. We're going to go to the farms this morning, and you're going to meet the farmers, and then you're going to learn a little about what makes Treasure Beach. So welcome. Safety tips. We stay on the left, 2 bicycle length apart, right? If and when you do have to hit potholes, right, you hold on your brakes before, slow down, and then flow through. All right, the bikes are pretty good. They're all suspension, and yeah, we should be good.
Well, my helmet, I'm all right. Am I all right?
Yeah, all right, man. Don't take it too much that you can't talk, you know. Jesus Christ. That look choky, man.
So in terms of health-wise, how does cycling help with that?
Cycling is a complete exercise, like swimming. Yeah, your entire body, all the muscles in your body, yeah, actually work because you have to be pushing and pulling at the same time. So it's a complete exercise. And plus concentration. When you're on the road, you know, with cars and stuff like that, your concentration, you know,
Has to be on point.
yes, have to be on point. So you're, you know, as I said, a full body workout, and then your mind have to be sharp at the same time. So it's a healthy way.
I know, because especially coming up the little slope, I feel it
You
in
feel
my
it in your
oh,
thighs.
goodness.
That's right.
But what made you start the bike tours?
Started out as a chef, a baker and a chef, some years ago, and then started to meet people. And that's where the idea came about. They wanted to explore. I started out by just hiking, like walking tours, and then the idea came about using bicycles. And add to that with the GX Triathlon, that had helped me to propel the whole idea and put it together that, you know, yeah, people need bikes when they're here, and they need to explore our area and, you know, meet our people and, yeah, and learn our culture.
And see what exactly St. Elizabeth has to offer.
What St. Elizabeth has to offer. Because as you know, down here is the food basket.
Is that a hill?
It is a hill. It's your first one.
My first hill? I don't think I'm moving. Hold on, I need a rest. That was a hill and a half. First hill, the rough. This bike tour is no joke. No joke. I feel it in the thighs. I didn't even know I was moving because my legs were dead, like dead. One day somebody won't like push me.
This is off the beaten track now, and this is where it's fun because then you get to see all the farmlands, all the cantaloupes and the watermelons and the escallion and you name it. Everything that is farmed here in South St. Elizabeth.
We are now at Liquor Park, Cheddar Beach. Here is a farming area. Here you have the tomatoes and cantaloupe also, but these cantaloupe are a bit younger. So now we are mulching the land to get a good produce, a good production. So if you don't mulch it, then the result will be poor. And the chemical wise, you have to spray for the insecticide and etc. Fungicide also. These are some unique melons that they have here. They call it the tangerine, or some people say the pineapple, or the orange. This is the orange one, in my understanding. It is not common to every farmer. It's a bit unique. So the higglers and they call them the marketing personnel. They yield for this step of fruits because they sell fast.
The bike tour is almost like pedestrian then. They go into the little nooks and crannies and lanes where people live. They see how they live, they see how their houses are made. And they are intrigued by this, you know. For example, some Europeans or Americans are where they come from. Have never seen people cooking on wood fire, for example. And when they go into these little lanes and so on, these people have their kitchens made from native material, whatever. Sometimes there is no building at all. It's just a pile of stone on which they make a fire and they cook and wash and so on. So that is interesting to them. You go into the far reaches of their mind and let them inquire further. How these people came about. How did they live like this? How did they learn all these skills?
The journey was amazing, especially the downhill sections. Cycling offers you a good leg workout, so if you are up for the challenge, this is definitely the activity for you. Thank you very much, Damien.
If you want to participate in the bike tours, that I offer, you can come here to Jake's because Jake's is a big supporter of all the tours that I do. We also offer the Lover's Leap hiking tour, which is a 1,750 feet drop, about a 4 hours round trip with going to the bottom and back.
Recent rainfall in sections of the island has certainly been needed, but we can't forget that it comes with potential hazards like increased opportunities for mosquito breeding and the spread of diseases like dengue. Dengue can be treated effectively if there is timely intervention, so it is very important that care is done appropriately and correctly at the right facility.
The severity of dengue ranges from a very mild disease to severe disease. What is important is to recognize the warning signs. Many persons are waiting until it is severe dengue. And not just severe dengue, but many persons are waiting until they see signs of bleeding before they go to hospital. Okay? But severe dengue can occur without bleeding. All right? So it is important for persons to recognize the warning signs. And these warning signs include persistent vomiting, abdominal pain or tenderness in the abdomen, or signs of confusion, lethargy, persistent lethargy, restlessness. Okay, what those signs are signs of decreased perfusion to the brain. It means that enough fluid is not going to the brain because persons are dehydrated. Okay, the dehydration and the signs of dehydration are very important to treat.
Do your part, get tested, and get treated as we aim to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Send your feedback on today's show to jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm. Also, follow us on our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, there's Twitter. Download our app on your Apple and Android devices, and you can also visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Whether it's to inspire the senses or enhance your imagination, abstract art and one-off pieces which create the feeling of uniqueness may be important to some homeowners. On this episode of Home Sweet Home, we'll get the homeowner's perspective on this, as well as we'll get to talk to one of the creators of some of these pieces. Stay tuned.
Hi.
Hi, Alison. How are you?
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
Have a seat.
So we want to talk about your love for the arts. Where do you draw your inspiration from for your own home?
I love color.
Okay.
I'm a colorful girl. If my children are here, you'd say they're colorful people. The three of us together, me and my two daughters, we fill out the whole room with color with our personalities. My husband, not so much. And that's just who we are. We just love a lot of bursts of color. So my couch, for example, is brown. Many people say, Alicia, brown, that's not. But I can put any color I want on the cushions, and I can change it up as much as I feel like. I love dance. I love people. I love anything that means anything to do with God and my faith. We're a Christian family. Those things are important and reflected. I also love flowers, just in case anybody wants to give me any.
Hint, hint.
Honey, if my husband is watching. Yeah. I also love flowers, and tropical flowers, and the just big bursts of blooms and color are lovely.
Why was it important to you to have custom-made pieces in your own home?
There's something to be said about being different. I am a Jamaican, and I'm always mindful of the fact that I'm a Caribbean woman and a Jamaican at heart and soul. And we are a different breed of people.
For sure.
All together, we're different. And I feel like there's so much in our culture and in our society that you can bring out. There's so much negative. I think art and having different little eclectic pieces around just kind of make you feel even more Jamaican. More, this was made by this person and he did that. And
no, I can imagine the other spaces in your house, but for this space that we're in, what would you say is your favorite piece? Painting, rug?
This.
This is?
It is.
It is. Too.
This was made, or this is a depiction of a friend of mine, Alicia Thomas, Amory Art. And long ago, in 2013 when we worked together, and she just started to paint things at the office, and she just thin pieces of canvas that just flip out the back and you can put it on your desk. She made a couple for me, a purple dancer, ironic, right? And she started to do other things, and I just love the story behind it. Is more why it's one of my favorites, because she's making art on rugs. Right. I mean, what? What is that? Yes. So I'm very proud of her, and it just helps that I absolutely love. And look at the colors,
It's definitely popping.
Yes. And then also, she made the piece just going up the stairwell. It's one of her signature pieces, so people would see that and know it's her, the face with all the color. And she actually made 4 like that for me, 4 miniature ones, which are just black and one color each, which I hung together at my office. So that's the mother piece, and the children are at the office. I have other favorites too. I mean, I'm obviously sentimental. So because I didn't want a regular guest book at my wedding when I got married to the lovely gentleman I did 9 years ago. But when persons were coming in, they're like, where's the guest book? Where's the guest book? So instead of writing something, I decided, why not have people paint? So they painted their names on canvas.
Oh, nice. Now, your home is very unique and I love it. Do you have to spend money? Like, does it have to be expensive for people to achieve this look or this kind of uniqueness?
No, it doesn't. I choose not to spend a lot of money because this is just a personal feeling now. I don't think that hiring somebody to just change your house is what would make me feel comfortable in the space. So I went to a little store beside my supermarket and I saw my curtains, the curtains that are here now, which I've had now for 8 years, because I saw them and they were all different pieces, and at the time they were $800 each. I said, let me just throw them together. They don't have to match, they're just colorful. I don't need them to match, this purple, orange and green. Here we go. Drop some white in between. We're good to go. Also, you have to take care of your things yourself. And also, you don't have to buy everything all at once. The mistake that many people make is, and it puts them into a lot of debt, is to go out and do a huge spending spree on artwork, on rugs, on curtains, cushions, couch, all at the same time. You don't have to do that. Do a little.
Right.
Bring some more color into your house each time, and every time, and also get some flowers, these tropical flowers that people have. You see men selling them on the street all the time. Put that in a vase or put that in a whatever, wherever you want to put it. And that just brings a whole room to life.
So how would you say this transcends into, you know, when you have to entertain people, when you have guests over and things like that?
Do you know, I really believe that people, when they enter a home, they have to feel welcome and at home. I am an entertainaholic. So I want my friends and my family here all the time, much to my family's dismay sometimes. But I want them here and I want them to feel welcome. And that is the greatest artwork, I think. Like, just your people in a home is the greatest decoration, in my opinion. It's not like I'm choosing colors or artwork or the rug or the cushions or whatever for people to feel good. Although this couch, not just for its color, but my husband has to watch NFL every Sunday, and therefore it has to be comfortable. So I don't want anything to be stoic or something that you don't feel like you can touch or that you can, you know. Not many of the pieces, by the way, have glass on them or over them, because I have 2 children and they'll climb up and they'll scratch, and I don't want people to feel like they can't touch anything here. It's a home.
It feels very homey, I must say. Come back. Come back. I'm already invited. Thank you so much for having us and inviting us into your home. I'm excited to see some of these pieces up close, but thank you so much for talking with us.
You're welcome.
Don't go anywhere. Home Sweet Home will be right back.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Now, before the break, we showed you our visit to Alicia's place, where she chose to decorate with bold, vibrant pieces. She had said that her husband wasn't too keen on decorating, but this homeowner is. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Garfield Grandison. Welcome to my bachelor pad. I think when you come into my space, you'll find that the art represents like a part of my personality. It's very eclectic. So I have different types of art. I'll have different artists. A lot of them are mainly Jamaican artists because I don't know, for some reason I'm all about this by Jamaica concept from the way I dress to know my space at home. So literally when you come into my space, it's very warm, it's very relaxing, and I think that's how I like when people see me. That's how they feel when they come to my space. I'm gonna let you know a little secret that a lot of people don't know, and they're probably gonna say I'm a liar, but I'm a homebody. So as much as you probably see me on the social scene or you see me working, blah blah blah, I love to be at home. And so, for me, I don't often get to spend as much time here as I want to. So when I do, I want to be as comfortable as possible. So when I come home, I want to be able to have a glass of wine, Apple TV. It's just this kind of zen, it just relaxes you after you come from work and it gets you ready for the next day. So that's what I want in my space to represent. I don't like monotony. I think I have a very dynamic personality, so I get bored easily. So right now, I look in the kitchen color and I want to change it. That's just me. Just like how I dress based on my mood. My home space is also based on my mood. So you might come here another day and you see black and white. There's just one wall and all the frames are black. That's really and truly what I want for this space, but I don't all the time feel that way, and so I kind of shift a little bit. I think my most expensive piece would probably be the Craig Pangsang piece, and that was, Lord, I had to save up a whole heap for that one. I think that was almost roughly $200,000, like 100 enough, but it spoke to me. It spoke to me. So oh God, I did make a lot of sacrifices to get that one. And I think the gratification I get from it is, there's no value on that. There's something about buying a piece of art that is very relaxing. And when I look at it, I actually consider it an investment. Because, and as I always say to my friends, I'm not buying art for now or for this space. I'm buying from a future home. Because Lord knows when I can afford to buy a house, I won't be able to afford to buy the house and the art. So after buying the house, I already have my art. I can, fully furnish it and be comfortable. So I think I'm making the sacrifices now to buy it I really am out of wall space, as you can see, but what I've started to do, don't laugh at me, but based on my mood again, I switch them around. So it's like a revolving art gallery, they call it. So that's just it, as a me, crazy me, but that's how I enjoy my space, and that's how my close friends enjoy my space as well. I think it's always a nice visual. Whenever I have my little, whether dinner parties or barbecues or whatever, it's always nice to have that visual element. I mean, there's sometimes when my friends would come over and they're like, that new. And then we probably sit down and we talk about it, and then I've introduced them to whether the artist or the designer or whatever, and then it goes from there. They will go and get a piece, or they recommend it to somebody else. So it kind of has that trickle-down effect. I think my favorite piece would be from Amory. That's one of them. And it's the one with the female form. And I have that in probably everything. I have it in the cup, I have it in the plate, I have it in the rug, I have it in the picture. And I think that's because I have so many strong, influential women in my life. When I first saw this piece, it kind of spoke to me a little bit. I didn't know I would go and get all these different things in it, but it just so happens, it's kind of like an effect, like a ripple effect. I got one and another piece come, and sometimes I have to draw myself back and say, you don't need no more, you know? I've also have some from Crystal Ball, another Jamaican artist. The picture is literally a guy holding his head like this, like he's in despair or something, but my interpretation is not despair, it's just a calm, just a relaxed kind of, you know, getting yourself ready again for the next day. So those are two of my favorites. My friends say my house is a gallery, but I don't treat it as a gallery. I just treat it as a sanctuary. Come and relax, have fun, unwind, that type of thing. My advice to homeowners, or young homeowners rather, more importantly, in terms of starting out, is to treat a home as you treat an outfit. You know, when you start in a new job, you buy a few staple pieces that you always need, like a white shirt, a black pants, a black pair of shoes. So you have the staple pieces, and then you build around them till you have a complete outfit. You have a full suit, like I have a full three-piece suit, pretty much. So I always use that as my little piece of advice to persons, if ever they ask.
Thanks for that, Garfine.
We take our final break on Home Sweet Home. We'll be right back.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Now, you've seen her art in both homes. Now let's meet the lady who could be bringing these distinctive pieces to your home.
Hi, Candy.
Hi, Alicia. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you. How is everything? Now, Alicia, I must comment on how beautiful and vibrant this space is. I just love it. But I want to know, how did you get started in art and designing these pieces?
The thing about it is I've always loved to draw from an early age. I remember in grade 9, I actually was going through a magazine, And I saw where somebody did a mural. First time seeing anything like this. I went home and I asked my mother if I could, paint the walls. Surprisingly, she said yes. And, right now to this day, there are people dancing in the room on the walls. I have a big face on one wall. So it started there as it relates to experimenting with paint. It was later in college, overseas, where I visited a friend of mine who was painting, and she gave me my first canvas to work with, and my paintbrush and everything, and she just said paint. And that was the first time doing an actual abstract piece. It wasn't up until 2016 where I started branching off into, doing the pillows and rugs and, putting my stamp on plates and cups and all these other mediums.
Now, even though your pieces may look like they're abstract, they are not by any means. Describe what you have in your artwork.
Well, a lot of times what you'll find is, yes, I may have a very abstract background, but I try to still put some form of image on there. So for example, you'll notice a lot of my art pieces have an image of a dancer. By no means can I dance, but there's just something about, the free-flowing, the freeness of, putting that image on my art pieces. So I tend to use that a lot. And then I also find myself putting a lot of images of faces on my pieces. So it may still have a hint of abstract on there. The thing about it is, or the beauty about abstract in general, I may see a dancer, or that was my intention, but somebody else sees something completely different, and that's just the beauty of abstract art.
What do you consider when customizing pieces for clients? Do you take into consideration their color scheme, or do you just do your own thing?
Well, the thing about it is it depends on the client itself. Sometimes I get clients who actually know exactly what they want. Right. They may say to me, Alicia, I love this piece, but instead of using red here, I wanted to use blue. Or get that client who absolutely have no idea. They have a space and they say they love my work, but they just want me to come in and help them. Right. So in a case like that, I may actually go to that person's home, and the things I look for is the color of the wall, the space itself, how big the space is, the wall space itself. Actually look at their furniture, what colors they're working with, and also the decor itself. Right. And then, talk to them, get a feel for their personality to see what type of image that it is that I'll do for them. Or there may be instances where I say to them, look through my art pieces, right, and give me an idea of what it is that you like. And then from there, I start to do my work. Throughout the process too, I'll share with them images. So if it is that when I'm complete and I send them the final product and they say, this pink, it's a little too bright, tone it down for me, I'll do that, and then send them the final product. Once it's approved, I'll deliver it if I can. Or now that I have an actual store front, they can pick it up there. I think art is one of the most important elements of a space. I tend to use a lot of bright and vibrant colors, so it just brings the place to life. So if it is that, say, a person has neutral colors, clean walls, soft walls, that pop of color will definitely, enhance that space.
Now, you see, because I've been following you for years, I know that this is an Amory piece, and it's just really, really nice. I love the rug, I love the coasters. In fact, I love this entire space, and I think the cushions and all these little elements really, you're right, bring it to life. So good job with that.
Thank you.
But which are your favorites to make, and which would you say are most popular amongst your clients?
Well, my favorite thing to do is actually the actual painting itself. At the end of the day, all the other mediums derive from my actual painting. I mean, it's really therapeutic, especially after working a very long day. You know, to come home and paint, it's very relaxing. But what I absolutely love seeing my art on is the rugs. The rugs. You know, the rugs are just absolutely amazing. And the thing about the rugs, it's one of a kind piece. I mean, you can't go anywhere else in the world and see this A-Marie art rug.
For sure, and it's one thing that the pieces are on walls and bring this level of vibrance to the room, but having it on the floor,
right?
Different level. I really like it too.
I actually have a client who bought a rug, but he decided to put it on his wall. So he actually hung the rug in his home on a wall.
And while we're talking about the rugs, how do you work out the pricing for them?
Well, for the rugs itself, there are two different types of rugs. You have hand knotted and you also have tufted rugs. The hand knotted rugs, I mean, this is a type of rug that can last you for generations. And a rug like that takes on average about 4 weeks to do, versus the hand tufted rugs, which could typically take 1 to 2 weeks to produce. Of course, the price difference between the two types of rugs would vary, but of course, the bigger the rug too, the higher the cost as well. But I mean, like I said, the beauty about the rugs is that it's a one-of-a-kind piece.
Now, we previously visited Alicia and Garfine, and I find that they kind of have a knack for art. Do you find that all your clients are like that, or is it generally like a mix of people?
You know, it's funny that you say that, because from time to time, I'm more realizing that it's your average homeowner that actually tend to like the vibrancy of my artwork. You know, I'll have people in their middle 20s straight up to people, you know, in their 50s who gravitate to my artwork. So it does vary.
Why would you encourage people to buy an original A-Marie art or just an original piece as opposed to just something you buy in a store?
Well, I mean, you know, it's nothing like having your own one-of-a-kind piece on your wall that, you know, you can never see anywhere else. I mean, there may be times where I may have a particular piece and somebody may say to me, Alicia, you know, I want something similar to this, just change the color for me. But then I get those clientele that actually say to me, Alicia, I want you to do a piece for me and for only me. And, you know, for a piece like that, of course, the price would be a little bit higher. Not significantly, but slightly higher. But for that client, they're happy to know that they can't go anywhere else and they won't see that painting anywhere else. And a thing that tends to happen a lot too, I mean, this actually becomes their conversational piece. Right. You know, as they walk in that room, you know, it lights up the space, and it's just a focal point of that space for the client.
So Alicia, as someone who has an artistic eye, and you sort of have that eye for decor as well, what kind of tips would you give homeowners for designing their own spaces?
Well, the thing about it is, you know, if somebody already has quite a few paintings in their home, and say, for example, they get bored with it, what they can do is actually switch it around. Right, because, you know, they'll be amazed at how it changes the perspective of the space once they move it around. Also, another thing is too, you know, if a person is very ambitious like myself, they can actually use the artwork to pick up all the colors in the room, as we have here with the rug and the couch. I have a green couch. But on the other side of things, you don't have to match. By no means does your artwork have to match your furniture. Artwork can actually also be used to enhance the room. So if it is that, say for example, they have a vase that is curvy, they could choose an artwork that has waves in it, you know, to help enhance the room.
Well, Alicia, I see homeowners are making excellent use of your art in their homes, and I'm looking forward to seeing your pieces in many more homes going forward. And of course, thank you for inviting us into your own and showing us some of your own pieces.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
That's all we have time for this week. Tune in next week for another informative episode of Home Sweet Home. And of course, if you have any interesting Home Sweet Home ideas, feel free to call our office at 908-0919. Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we knock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access. Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV comes to you from the PSOJ's President's Forum, hosted by NCB under the theme Digitization Day One Mindset. Stay with us for the highlights.
Now, you know that digital technologies has reshaped the whole international development, our whole life, really. And it is one of those aspects in the new paradigm of technology. And it is imperative that our businesses understand the importance of digitization. Many of you, I look in the room, who probably, some of you, not all, might have been around probably 20, 30, 40 years ago and had all these files, and you would go to meetings with files, and then you realize all of a sudden you have no space to store the files, right? And what happens if there is flooding or there is fire, right? So it's very important. And we need to keep pace with what is happening in terms of technology. Digitization is just one of them.
Over the past year, the PSOJ has been heard to speak on a plethora of issues across a wide subject area of national life. This activity has engendered some criticism as to its appropriateness and authority to do so. And it is, I submit, necessary for me to make, hopefully, an evidence-based response to some of these criticisms. Let me point out that in democracies and non-statist countries such as ours, the private sector, the civil society, are partners with the government and with the state, and should be, the private sector in particular, should be the engine of growth, innovation, creativity, and change. The state then assumes the role of facilitator and regulator of the economy and of social life. Secondly, the path that Jamaica has taken over the past several decades is one which requires that the state move away from the control of the commanding heights of the economy and allow for participation by the private sector to a much greater degree in ensuring growth and development through enterprise and the investment of private capital. This implies a much greater degree of independence, involvement, participation, and dialogue. And yes, criticism. Not only by the private sector, but indeed civil society in general. It can't be any other way unless we want to return to the days of Bakramasa and clientelism. So in attempting to do the job that some people unfortunately and probably mistakenly gave to me, I want to encourage each and every one of us to take up our God-given burden and to shoulder it in furtherance of a common objective, the betterment of our nation and its people, without fear or favor, prejudice or bias, like or dislike. We can't have it both ways. Either we give back control to one set of rulers or the other, or we encourage, cajole, coerce, demand, and persuade leadership from the set of managers that we choose through the democratic process of elections from time to time. Thirdly, the decision that we have made in the last decade to cast off the yoke of a low-wage economy, to stop being a mendicant nation that has gone to the IMF 15 times in the past 40-odd years, and to choose a path of growth and development that requires independent thought, hard choices, rigorous equity in our treatment of one another, creativity, good governance, and finally, accountability and transparency. This is, as Bojo will tell us, not an easy road. We must realize that it cannot be business as usual, and it is incumbent on our thought leaders and influencers to create the understanding among our people that all hands must be on deck in furtherance of the achievement of our national and individual goals. The standard crab-in-a-barrel, partisan, selfish, tribalist, regional, parochial, and garrison behavior is a detriment to progress in creating an independent and truly sovereign, resilient state. The road we have chosen to come out of Egypt is by necessity involving the development and acceptance of a growth inducement strategy. Because in order to achieve our goals, it will take cash to care. We will have to complete the correction of our fiscal and monetary imbalances. And to some extent, we have done well, and we must give credit where credit is due. Successive governments have kept their noses to that grindstone. But we'll have to make our people technologically ready. We have to correct the underutilization of our productive capacity, the economic waste of our capital, and the concentration of our capital in highly capital-intensive sectors and economic enclaves. A mighty set of tasks. But this country is equal to it. Our government cannot do it alone. So when the private sector is heard, and particularly the PSOJ, is heard cussing, whining, complaining, criticizing, and occasionally praising, we believe that we are doing our job. We speak on many subjects because we represent many categories of members: universities, banking, business processing, agriculture, tourism, manufacturing, distribution, entertainment, construction, energy, micro, small, and medium-sized businesses, and individuals, and recently, embalmers. You could say we represent the quick and the dead. This is the unique nature of the private sector organization of Jamaica. So we have to speak on many fronts. And we do this with a tremendous staff of 12 people, including 2 groundsmen and the office lady. In the process, we will mash some corns. We will ruffle some feathers. Maybe we'll even make some enemies. But hopefully, we will change some attitudes and some behaviors and cause some people to think and act positively. We ask for your understanding and your critical and constructive guidance and your realization that we are in a new paradigm. This topic this morning demonstrates a new aspect of that paradigm. And we hope that the message goes out loud and clear that we are in a brave new world requiring a different, mature, nationalist approach for us to have the chance to succeed.
Great design is not only how things look, but also how well they work. The GLC, more than meets the eye.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
It has always been a great opportunity to meet with some of the finest stewards of the nation's business and entrepreneurs at this much anticipated bi-monthly roundtable forum. I thank the PSOJ and other partners for your unrelenting support of and drive to further the development of our beloved nation. Your joint vision and effort has been propelling this unique event, which celebrates Jamaican businesses as well as the hard-working entrepreneurs who are not just dedicated to winning at business, but are also dedicated to winning at life. At these breakfast gatherings, we are afforded the opportunity to enjoy good food, good company, and perhaps more importantly, to enjoy essential business insights that we are privileged to take back to our own companies and to enhance our individual business models and workplace environments. At NCB, we have seen the benefits of aligning ourselves with institutions like the PSOJ and supporting this forum that continues to create an avenue for like minds to develop solutions towards sustainable economic growth in Jamaica. I propose to you, ladies and gentlemen, that the journey towards achievement of this buoyant economy starts and ends with day one. I invite you to think back to the first day of the most exciting journey you have ever embarked on. Reflect on the fire of excitement you felt that kept you from being still. Your heart was racing with anticipation, perhaps, enthusiasm, and for some, a bit of anxiety. Perhaps it was the day that you entered university, or the day you were promoted to an executive level position, or perhaps for some, the day that you started your first business. It could even have been the day when you got a novel idea. While you may not have been sure how things would have turned out, you knew deep down that this had the possibility of being huge. But whatever the situation, we can recall being full of zeal and vision on that particular day. We had great plans, and our brains were teeming with ideas. For us, the sky was the limit. the world was our oyster. And anything, well, no, everything was possible. This is the energy and invincibility that categorizes Day One. At NCB, it is always Day One. It was Amazon founder and CEO Jeff Bezos who made famous the idea of remaining at Day One. The concept, however, is not inherently new, but speaks to maximizing your company's potential, focusing on the big picture, and remaining zealous in our quest for success. Still, it is surprising how many businesses have regressed to Day Two and died. That is why innovation and vision continue to be pivotal in the success of businesses. In the words of American physicist William Pollard, and I quote, "Learning and innovation go hand in hand. The arrogance of success is to think that what you did yesterday will be sufficient for tomorrow." End of quote. And he was right, wouldn't you agree? So, accepting this to be true, at NCB, we have developed and adopted the core principles. We have adopted the core principles of Day One, which are now fast becoming our culture, are now fast becoming the way of life at NCB. These principles include the following 4 key ideas. And the first idea, the first principle of Day One is being customer obsessed. Many of us here today are in the customer facing business, and we all have customers as businesses. So being customer obsessed is the first principle of Day One. The second is resisting proxies. The third principle, embracing global trends. And fourth and finally, making high quality decisions at high velocity. And these practices have been effective in helping us to gain record profits as well as achieving our 2020 strategy, which is NCB 2.0, faster, simpler, stronger, raising the bar and setting the standard for the financial services industry. Allow me please to highlight just a few other ways in which we at NCB have implemented these principles in our own operations and the success that we have garnered. Let's focus on the first principle, that is being customer obsessed. Former Apple CEO Steve Jobs said, and I quote, "Our belief was that if we kept putting great products in front of our customers, then they would continue to open their wallets." End quote. It has been working for Apple, and I dare say that I believe it is working for us. Truth is that technology is the way of the future. Our customers want faster, hassle-free service, and we aim to meet the needs of these customers. To that end, we avoid being preoccupied with the affairs of our competitors, but instead, we keep focused on our clients, listening to what they have to say, and then upping the ante, remaining one step ahead. And our work speaks for itself. Of late, we have embarked on enhancing how we serve our customers with the aim of exceeding their expectations and providing them with more technologically based banking options with which we were first to market. Some of these include the following: our online account opening, and this allows our customers to open accounts online in as little as 5 minutes. To execute this solution, we also introduced a self-service account opening option in branches via our online portal. Then too, we have changed the face of lending with the introduction of our fully digital instant loan. And this is a term facility which is fulfilled 100% digitally. More recently, we introduced our pay advance loan. And this is a monthly facility which is offered to customers of NCB. And this facility attracts no interest. It is repayable in 1 month from the salaries of our clients that are deposited with us, principal along with a fee. And our customers are pre-approved and can avail themselves of these funds at their convenience at the touch of a button through our online portal. For the many customers who continue to be served through a branch network, we have enhanced our lending platform to deliver straight-through processing. And this process sees our unsecured customers, unsecured consumer loan customers, as well as our credit card customers having their proceeds credited their accounts prior to leaving the sales officer.
Share with us the journey you've had being here for 7 months. I know that you leave.
It was a very good journey. I learned a lot. As you know, I'm also a member of the PSOJ. And so it was good for me to get to see what was happening on the other side. And so I think we have done an awesome work with a very small staff that we have. We continue to put on functions and to find topics that were of interest and of relevance. I mean, this one was very good, and I recall the one we did in May on disaster preparedness and risk management. And we did that really to be having it before the hurricane season. So we try to find topics and speakers that are relevant to the particular time. So it has been a very good journey. I think if you don't take it on, whether you're going to do it in your, you see, you need to use it, utilize it in your business processes. I can tell you, I have been involved in companies that have done it, and it has made tremendous difference to the offering of service to the customer. So delivering good service really is not just front house. It really starts in the back room, the back office. And so you have to, I wouldn't even say automate, you have to sometimes re-engineer those processes using technology in order for you to be cutting edge and above the rest. And you also have to keep up. Even a simple thing like your telephone system. Many people don't even realize that for your telephone system, it's much cheaper in the long run to put in a VoIP, for example. You know, and I'm sure later on it will move beyond that. So you always have to you have to learn and know what's happening in your industry so that you are able to be always innovative and always a step ahead.
You spoke about digitization this morning. Are there any fundamental issues that often challenge organizations in their attempts to digitize?
One of the key challenges I think an institution will face in their attempt to digitize their processes and their business is the mindset of the individuals they have on board. At NCB, we have used the agile approach as we sought to change the business, and this essentially requires close collaboration of small groups of persons and persons who have specific skill sets required. And what we find in companies may not readily, and individuals may not readily give up power, decision-making, autonomy to junior persons within the organization, but we find that method of working really helps to accelerate the decision-making, and the decisions are made at the level where persons are interacting most closely to the customers or end users of our products. So that's one key challenge. The other challenge that I think institutions will find is the available key resources. Many of the skill sets that are required are not readily available, and because many companies are embarking on this journey we find that the demand is high. The demand is high for developers, it's high for programmers, it's high for Scrum Masters. We at NCB have had to do much of our training internally for our Scrum Masters, for example, and supplemented resource requirements with persons from the outside. So these are two key challenges that I think that institutions will face. In addition, I think as well, just the pace at which decisions now have to be made. They have to be made with higher velocity. And traditional institutions tend to be hierarchical, very bureaucratic. The agile way of working requires decisions to be made very quickly. So that requires a mindset shift within organizations that are embarking on these journeys.
NCB is fully immersed into the whole digitization process. How can other banks accelerate innovation through digitization?
Well, I think one way would be to imitate us. But certainly it requires focus, it requires dedication, it requires executive commitment, and not just paying with service, but really assigning time and assigning resources to ensure that the journey is successful. It has to be funded. It is not inexpensive, but it's an investment in delivering service, quality service for our customers, and therefore is one that has to be made. It has to have an executive commitment from the get-go if companies are to be successful. Digitization in and of itself is not a strategy. Really, digitization essentially is part of the business strategy and serves to enhance the overall business goals and objective of the institution, and therefore it has to be viewed in that context.
That's it from us here. Until next time, keep it locked to Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
We are serious about the business of real estate, so catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
Now presenting the Jamaica Social Investment Fund ICDP Enterprise Development Project. Entrepreneurial Grant Business Pitch.
This project is a $100 million grant that's seeking to target 50 small and micro business enterprises and give them training, capacity development, equipment, permits and license towards the development and the viability of their business. We have made a call for proposal in March of this year for entrepreneurs to submit for the opportunity to receive a grant between $1 and $5 million. We received more than 500 applications, and so we have now shortlisted them to 100. So we've invited that top 100 applicants here today, and they're going to have to pitch their business idea to a panel, and of the 150 will actually transpire and win the opportunity for the grants. One of the primary objectives of what we're doing here is employment. We want the business to be able to sustain not only the principals as the owners, but we also want the business to be able to employ at least 2 people. The next part of it, as we do in all of our projects like this, is it provides a learning instrument of how we can engage small and micro enterprises and take them to the next level.
Why we're doing this rigorous process? Because we want to identify the best potential entrepreneurs to fund for this project. And keep in mind that we are speaking about a loan, so we want to ensure that the applicants are committed, and that from a sustainability point of view, that upon receiving the support from JSIF, that in 2-3 years the enterprises will still be operational and the broader objective of the project would be achieved. Once we have now equipped them and they should be ready to start the production line going, we'll then have a mentorship component.
It has been a very competitive process. Jamaica is filled with persons with drive and passion. We're expecting that the best will be selected. And then for those who are not successful, we are also hoping to link them to other providers of services, because I'm telling you today, from what I've seen, it is an excellent, excellent, excellent opportunity. It's worthy of note that many persons coming here today already have some kind of semblance of a business, but they need the additional support to move that business to the other level, as well as some persons that come in with just proposals to start from scratch. On behalf of the JSIF, we want to really thank the DBJ and other partners from UWI who came to be part of the panel, and just to remind you that the JSIF is here and we're investing for community development.
On this episode, Mackay talks to us about taking risks.
I've taken some huge financial risks over the years, but I would say the biggest risk probably would be picking up and moving my entire life to Jamaica.
The growth with ADS Global.
ADS over the past 3 years has really diversified its model.
And the biggest misconception that many may have about him, he finally puts to rest.
I think the biggest misconception that people have is that I'm this big businessman from the United States that's very well off. I'm Ron McKay, CEO of ADS Global, co-founder of the company, a full-service contact center out of Montego Bay, and just last year became the new president for the American Chamber of Commerce here in Jamaica. Ron McKay's an entrepreneur that's trying to build a business, several businesses. Wants to have a lot of fun along the way, but also trying to make a difference along the way. I try to give back where I can and when I can to communities, and I try to surround myself with good people. And I think when you surround yourself with good people, you can not only get ahead in life, but bring a bunch of people to get ahead with life with you. I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Grew up, both sides of my family came from migrant families. My mother's side from Italy, my father's side from Scotland. Both sets of grandparents and aunts and uncles, we all lived within one city block in brick row homes. And eventually my father and mother moved out of the city into the suburban area. Grew up at the Jersey Shore on the beach. Grew up a major sports fan of the Philadelphia teams. And essentially, my parents instilled in a very young age in me that you're gonna have to work hard for anything that you want to accomplish in life. They were both self-made people. My dad went through university on the Army bill for scholarship after being in the Army, and was at night work, actually raising 2 sons. And I was actually at his college graduation. My mother was a school teacher for 35 years, Catholic school teacher. And matter of fact, she was my 8th grade English teacher at one time, which was my toughest grade I ever got. And I always had jobs, always entrepreneurial based. I had the largest paper route in my neighborhood, worked after school as a stock boy in a retail store, worked the summers at restaurants down in the vacation resorts, had my own Christmas tree business. We sold Christmas trees, and then eventually went on to Christian Brothers Academy, a private all-boys school in New Jersey for high school. Really, that's when I started to really learn some good values about, leadership, values and friendship, surrounding yourself with good people. And then went on to Villanova University outside of Philadelphia. And got into the real estate business while I was still at school. Rented homes back to my fellow students. I was in a landlord business. Became president of the basketball organization, traveled with the team for many years. Had a lot of fun with that, and then got into high-end luxury home building along the Jersey Shore, waterfront properties. And at age 22, amassed a very nice portfolio of real estate upon graduating university. And that was my first big experience, and at a very young age, getting into the business world. I think the motivation for me was, my father was a self-made business person, but he always worked for a big corporation. And growing up, he worked hard to give his children a great education and give his family a great home, and instilled those values in me. But also, I didn't get a chance to see him a lot. He was always traveling, or he'd come home late at night tired. And so at a very young age, I didn't want to go the traditional corporate business route, like most 95% of my friends graduating and on-campus interviews. So at a young age, I was always looking for something I could do for myself. And that's where the entrepreneurial spirit came in. So that, sometimes you might have to work 60, 80 days a week. You might work 3 weeks without a day off. But then at least you're doing it for yourself, and you're dictating the pace of where you go in life. I have a younger brother, 4 years younger, lives still back in the Philadelphia area, and comes down to Jamaica a couple times a year, loves it down here. I have a lot of adopted family from the States because they all want to come down to Jamaica and then enjoy the weather. But yeah, just him and I, as far as a direct sibling. I got out of the real estate business not by choice. There was a banking crisis in the United States in the early 1990s. The savings and loan industry crashed, and basically real estate development became into a recession. I achieved success so fast and so soon at such an early age that I really never went and had to work within any type of structured framework, 9 to 5, or commute on a train, or travel with a car like a lot of my friends had done out of university. And I made my own schedule. And I never thought of life past real estate at that point. I figured I'd just keep on doing this, for the rest of my life. And so when that came down, and I lost everything, I felt like I had failed because I didn't have any type of plan B. It wasn't about failing in real estate, because there were a lot of intangibles that much bigger business people than me, in the business their whole lives, went under, bankrupt and things like that, and the government had to come in and redo the entire banking industry. I just felt like I had no vision to say, well, what if someday this isn't working? What would I do next? And I had a very difficult time redefining myself and what I wanted to do, because I had taken this path of, I'm a very independent person. And then I thought, well, should I consider going to try to get a job, a traditional job? And I went through that period for a while, and it wasn't an easy period, because I just felt like also a lot of people around me were encouraging me at a young age to do well, but there were a lot of people around me too, even people that consider themselves friends, who were thinking, he's crazy, and then they were sort of waiting for it to fall apart. So I was also in that zone that I had to prove them wrong, but I wanted to make sure it was something that was sustainable long term. And that's really how I was feeling it at that time. I was, a little bit lost. I didn't know where really to go. I knew I'd find something and rebound. I'm a very resilient person, but I also knew at that particular time I was at a major crossroads in my life at such a very young age. I've taken some huge financial risks over the years, but I would say the biggest risk probably would be picking up and moving my entire life to Jamaica.
I'm 36. I'm a husband, a manager, and still very good looking. In 2 hours, I have the most important meeting of my life. But first, it's time to play. The new Suzuki Vitara.
I'm Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, and you're watching Business Access.
I was looking for something that was more, a business that was involved in more context that you could have more of a service-based business versus tangible assets like real estate. Something you could liquidate, something you could create a value towards in a much easier fashion. And at that time, they were breaking up Ma Bell in the United States, all the big telephone companies. And they were opening up opportunities for entrepreneurs in the telephone business. And I had done some research, and I got involved with a company called Amerivox, and they introduced the very first prepaid phone card to the United States. And I bought the distribution rights for Pennsylvania, New Jersey. And over a course of 3 years, we ramped that company up, pioneered the entire industry. Before then, the prepaid phone card didn't exist, and we sold that company off. And during that time period, got to meet a lot of celebrities, a lot of athletes, and I saw the power of merchandising by getting licensing agreements. We had agreements with the NFL players of football. We had Elvis Presley Enterprises, all these different images that we would put on the cards, and that's how we drove our marketing. So I approached a bunch of the former NFL football players to say, why don't we start our own telephone company? And we started Eagle Communications out of Philadelphia, and that was my first real company that I owned myself, and it was like a full service, small, like a small Digicel, small, cable and wireless in the Philadelphia area. I've taken some huge financial risks over the years, but I would say the biggest risk probably would be picking up and moving my entire life to Jamaica, because I had risks beyond just business. We moved to the Caribbean. The business moved probably about 14 years ago now, where we moved into the Eastern Caribbean. We built the very first call center in Guyana. We were the first privately funded call center company in Eastern Caribbean in St. Vincent and Grenada, and worked a little bit out of Barbados. And then eventually, 9 years, matter of fact, 9 years ago last week, we came up to Montego Bay. And then 6 years ago, one of the three partners passed away, and I decided to take a risk financially to buy his estate out and become a majority shareholder in the company. But I also knew to do that, I couldn't be commuting back and forth to Philadelphia and come down because I used to run the client relations, the sales, the marketing, and we had a small office still up in Philadelphia. Then I realized I had to be very hands-on here to build the investment, protect the investment. And that was a big thing because, you know, you're at that point in my life, I just turned 40, and to get up, you know, and up, I always traveled, but to really live somewhere totally different, I would say that was the biggest risk I ever took. How we formed America Direct Services, ADS, at that time was we wanted people to know that even though the facility is outside the United States, everything is still directly tied to American operations, technology, account management, finance, the owners. So there was really a brand called America Direct Services to try to overcome at that time the challenge of people not wanting to give you business if you weren't located in the United States. And that's how we formed America Direct Services. Number one challenge was the price of data connections and broadband back then. When we first came into the Eastern Caribbean, Cable and Wireless had a monopoly. There was no Digicel, there was no Flow, Merit, Columbus. Our data connection was for what they call an E1 to the United States was over 30,000 US a month. So think about how much the prices have come down. To run a quarter-mile fiber or a quarter-mile conduit to your building, because they didn't have network like now, that would be $250,000 US just to do a quarter mile. So you had big, big infrastructure challenges in the middle and during then. And then the other thing was, as a whole, the Caribbean was moving from an agricultural, manufacturer-based labor force to a service-based, with tourism originally being the original flow, but the countries we were in weren't big, huge tourism-based products in the Eastern Caribbean. Of course, you know, Guyana not really being in that sector. So you had the challenge of the workforce understanding and educating and creating a pipeline of educated employees that understand the difference about working with a product or something they hold or out in the field or something, and working behind technology, interfacing with people all over the world that they may never meet. So that was a challenge also. And I think just as a whole, you know, living away from the United States of America and things you just become accustomed to every single day that you don't think about, you need to think about. I mean, even to this day here, you know, things that you just take for granted elsewhere, it's not part of your routine. You don't have to think about how to overcome it here, you know, and throughout the, you know, developing worlds. They become part of your checklist that you need to do for the day. You know, so those have been big challenges. I've become a lot more calmer though over the years. You know, I mean, I come from an Italian family and a Scotch family, so you have the emotion and you have the stubbornness, and it took me a long time to adjust to life down here. And you know, I think what really drives my life to be more patient is the people here as a whole are such a wholesome, good feeling vibe to the country and to the people, and I enjoy that. I enjoy the people factor. ADS over the past 3 years has really diversified its model. We've gone from traditional call center services, from one building to 2 buildings in Fairview and the Freeport and Montego Bay, to now offering traditional back office, BPO services. We do database management for Fortune 500 companies all over the world. We've now got into marketing for the tourism industry. So we have a sister company called Citico, which we're shareholders in, and we drive tourism-based marketing. One of our big clients here locally would be Palladium Resorts and Lucy. We also have clients where we've done now customized loyalty rewards programs. So we've built programs you'll hear soon for Digicel on travel and reward side. We built technology solutions for companies like Mystic Mountain. So we're doing a lot here domestically that we haven't done in the past. So we've diversified to dealing with our global customers, but also our domestic-based customers, and moving the company into an area of back to really where I started, really, which would be, you know, the next, you know, tech-driven, the next growth area, but also taking the skill sets of what we are as a company and making sure we're putting the company in the right place for success. And that's a big reason why we got into the tourism-based part of the marketing business of the call center, tying in call center skill sets to tourism marketing, was that I saw a sales force, or I saw a skill set in my labor force that was comfortable. It was in their comfort zone to talk about tourism. So why not have a call center that's marketing tourism? Because now you get the best of both worlds for me as an owner to drive more business. So the tourism aspect, loyalty rewards, back office, database management, you're going to see a lot of that coming out of ADS. Social media management, business to business social media management, not what's going on Facebook and people having parties and posting photos. Taking people's profiles, market research, and saying, okay, you're trying to reach this particular type of person. I'm going to pull that data from the social media arena, like companies like LinkedIn and things like, and give you targeted customers. I think the biggest misconception that people have is that I'm this, big businessman from the United States that's very well off.
Do you want more experience from your SUV? Introducing the 2020 Nissan X-Trail with leading-edge technology, intelligent ride and chassis control, a round view monitor, and hill start assist for confidence behind the wheel, plus auto headlights and panoramic sunroof. Drive the SUV with more experience. The Nissan X-Trail, available today at Fidelity Motors.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
I think the biggest misconception that people have is that I'm this, big businessman from the United States that's very well off. I can tell you right now that I work very hard for what we continue to achieve. And I have really changed my entire life to really make it. My life is in Jamaica. And for the people that know me, they know that. I mean, really, it's Jamaica first now and the rest of the world second. And if you don't know me, people look at this guy who's the president of the American Chamber of Commerce, representing a lot of foreign investment. With the chamber itself has the word American in it, and having events with the embassy, and there's this aspect that they try to group you as an outsider or an expat, things like that. I consider myself a person living and building a life and business in Jamaica, trying to make a difference, and I don't like titles, or I don't like preconceived notions about people. I mean, and I think anyone that's ever heard me speak knows it comes from the heart. Yes, I want to be successful on all levels of success, but I define success, I think, now more than ever, on what I'm able to do to build a better life for myself and the people I care about, where I'm at. I always say a house is not a home. So that building I'm in, or that apartment I'm in, that's not my home. That's just a structure. A home is where you feel comfortable and you feel you have people around you that care about you and you care about. And I think that a lot of foreign businessmen that come down here get titled or pre-titled with certain stigmas that I don't think is fair. Now, a lot of them just go back and forth and never made a life here, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a big group of us that made a life here. And we didn't do that because we inherited any money. We didn't do that because the government gave us any money. We did it out of pure hard work and saw an opportunity to make our lives better by being here. Well, I don't sleep, so I need to get up. If not, my mind just, a race goes on and on and on and on. I'm like a big computer server. The minute I lay down, it starts downloading everything from the day. Once it's downloaded, I'm already ready to turn it back on. And so I'm not a workaholic because I work hard to play hard, Anybody that's been around me knows that I like to have a good time, and I like to have a lot of people around me having a good time. I like to laugh at myself and be goofy, and dressing up as Santa Claus and acting like a goofball at a Christmas party in front of the business community. I enjoy that. My philanthropy work here started out very basic. We had a couple of the managers that worked for me at ADS Global said there was a career day, and they wanted to invite me to speak at their children's school. So I went up to the school, first time I'd ever been to a school here in Jamaica, and I fell in love with the kids. And I started thinking more and more about if I can make a difference in Jamaica, I need to make it with the children and the future of Jamaica. So the next thing, I started going around talking to the schools about GSATs the week before GSATs, just to give the children a perspective of like, listen, don't get yourself all worked up. This is an opportunity, but you do your best and everything will work out. And there's life beyond next Tuesday when you take this test. And then that tied into falling in love with a certain school in Montego Bay called Supreme Prep, and spending time with them and helping them build a new room or put a new roof. And I sponsored an annual scholarship fund there in the name of Nelia Perrier, who's been a school teacher for over 50 years now in Jamaica. And then it went on to much bigger things. Now into AmJam, we formed our Committee for Community Affairs and Relations, and we're going to pick one charitable organization a year to help build and drive and support. And this year we're going to be doing Shelly Ann Frazier's organization, the Pocket Rocket Foundation for her. I like finding different levels of happiness. It's not anymore about how much I'm worth or how big the company is. It's more about happiness. And I think I've narrowed how I define happiness to myself, much less. It isn't such a big, broad-based concept as it was 20 years ago. If I get up and I enjoy the day, and I go to bed that night, and I enjoyed that day and what I did, and I enjoyed the people I had around me, that to me is happiness. And what drives me is to be able to have more days like that, and then turn days into weeks, weeks into months, months into years. Because it's not an easy thing to do. We deal with all the intangibles in life and challenges, and then we get away from the basics, which is, hey, listen, it doesn't matter how many employees you have, it doesn't matter how big the company, what you're worth, whatever. At the end of the day, you just want to get up and go to bed and enjoy life. And that's how I would say, that's what drives me. I would like to enjoy life even more.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange wishes to help to develop the social sector. To that end, they have formed the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, which is a safe, efficient, and transparent platform that aims to promote social projects that build Jamaica and will inure to the benefit of all persons living in the country.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is a company that encourages and mobilizes capital for the main market. And that is the market that is not the social sector. Now, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is really geared towards the social sector to help to solve social problems in the field of health, education, about children, environment. Those are some of the things that we consider social problems. And so it is to mobilize the capital, allow persons who have a desire to invest in a social good, to invest in the social stock exchange. It is designed in two parts. In phase one, where we look at social investment, and phase two, where we look at social impact investment. Now in phase one, really what we are saying is, it is donation. An organization will have a social issue and design it into a project or a program and invite Jamaicans or persons within the diaspora or the entire world to fund this program. Now in phase 2, you're going to get a return on investment which is not social. You will be getting shares, natural shares, as you would get if you invested in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And what you'll get is a return on capital, which is possibly dividend or an appreciation in that share. The Jamaica Social Stock Exchange does more than ask for the funding of these programs, but goes beyond that in terms of monitoring, ensuring that these programs are meeting the targets and the reason for them to have asked for funding in the first place. When we look at this new sector, it is important because holistically, if you do not look on the social sector, you do not improve the other sectors. We want to encourage all businesses in Jamaica to have a corporate social responsibility because it is good for encouraging and the growth and development of businesses.
Our women are the backbone of our society. They deserve to be protected and respected. Domestic violence is not okay. Speak up and speak out. No more violence against women.
The Jamaica Red Cross is a voluntary relief movement not prompted in any manner by desire for gain. They operate with a need to help. Caring Hands met with Dr. Dennis Edwards, president of the Jamaica Red Cross, at their visit to the community of Seawright Garden.
The Jamaica Red Cross is a humanitarian organization, first and foremost, and it is one of the national societies of the International Federation of the Red Cross and International Federation of the Red Cross and the Red Crescent, actually. And we are an auxiliary to the government of Jamaica since 1964, which means that by way of law, statute of parliament, we are obliged to support the government in anything the government requires us to do with respect to humanitarianism, particularly so in times of disasters. Consistent with the mandate of our international movement, our broad objective is to save lives, reduce human suffering, and preserve the dignity of people under any and all circumstances. As a part of the international movement, we are one of 190 societies around the world, with the society's origin way back 150 years ago out of a military war type event in Sofferino, a city in Italy, where our founder, Henry Dunant, actually was very concerned about the wounded on the battlefield. Hence, the International Federation of the Red Cross was formed initially to assist wounded soldiers. And then from that, it propagated all across the world and actually became involved not only in times of war, but in times of peace where people are suffering. We have as our mandate, or maybe I can say our pillars, 7 main pillars. Our first principle being humanity, which is to say that whatever it is that affects humanity, we are concerned about that. Our second principle is impartiality. Okay, so we do not discriminate against anyone. Once a person is in need, person is suffering, we are obliged to assist that person irrespective of their circumstances. We are also having as another of our major principles, which is of neutrality. We do not take sides. Okay, we do not take sides in any instance of conflict or any instance of relief. We just serve whomsoever it is are in need, and we look out for the most needy to actually engage ourselves. Then we also have another principle, which is independence. While we are an auxiliary to the government and we assist and all like that, in our territory here of Jamaica, we actually operate independent of any parties and independent of any religious, independent of any thought of being biased. So we're independent in all of our activities. We're also pretty much as one of another of our pillars, principles, volunteerism. We are a voluntary organization, not driven for reward or any such thing. We are all about helping humanity for the sake of humanity, not for the sake of rewards. And then we also are orienting ourselves toward unity. We seek to have people united as much as possible for the welfare of people, of the suffering peoples, as well as for the welfare of maybe the whole world. Unity is a big pillar of us. And then, of course, universality. In Jamaica, as well as in all nations, there is only one Red Cross. So while we have Red Cross branches around the country, it's just one Red Cross. So it's universal and it's open to all peoples in the country, as is the Red Cross movement, broadly speaking, open to all peoples around the world. And there are 109 societies around the world, originated, like I said, from back about 150 years ago. And there are over 100 million volunteers and members in the movement around the world. Our criteria to become a member is pretty simple. And the major criteria is a passion to serve humanity. But in that regard, though, we want to have people with that passion and consistent with that, people with integrity, people who are not driven by way of personal need, personal aggrandizement. And we therefore recruit from time to time, and people are free to actually approach us for membership. And there is a process, but we do, like when an individual is recommended and we get a chance to actually brief that person as to what the Red Cross is all about, and actually have an inauguration of membership where they can get a chance to understand what are the objectives, the principles of our movement. But our actual membership is pretty simple. You have the capacity to assist, and you are not in it for gain, and you are open to serving humanity. And I might insert that our membership is not confined to just persons who are physically and mentally able to assist. We are also open to persons who might say have disabilities and might want to subscribe and contribute to the development of peoples around them.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
The organization responds to the need that exists, and so our programs are built around that.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Deputy Director General at the Jamaica Red Cross, Loy Hugh, also oversees the operations of the society.
The organization responds to the need that exists, and so our programs are built around that. So we have evolved from we started as a branch of the British Red Cross in 1948, and at that time the major programs that we had would be feeding programs for people who are hungry, visiting the sick in hospitals, and we have, however, evolved to a society where crime and violence has become, so we have to have a violence prevention program. We have health that is in need, and there are poor health-seeking behaviors among people, and many activities that didn't exist before. And so we have disaster management, risk management we call it. We prevent, if we can, the disaster from occurring. We train individuals and ensure that the communities are equipped to deal with before, so that the impact of the disaster will be less and they can be more resilient and bounce back. So we work with the communities. In particular, we identify communities that are particularly vulnerable and work with them. But we try as far as we can to work with as many communities as resources allow. So that's disaster management. I talked a little bit about the health, but health also refers to HIV prevention, for example. We just had the Zika scare, and so we're involved in Zika prevention, educating and sensitizing people as to how to get rid of the mosquitoes and to develop good habits so that mosquitoes won't breed in their homes and areas where they are frequenting. We look at blood donor. We recognize that while it is not something that people like to do, the country needs it, and transfusions, when people need blood because motor vehicle accidents, they've lost a lot, we need to encourage people to have a bank, to have some, so it's not just at the time that you will need. And so we have a program where we encourage, especially young people, we call it Club 25 in there. So the drives include trying to make sure that before you're 25, try to make a number of donations, and they are rewarded. We give them certificates, etc. for encouraging people to give as well. So young people get a chance to assist others. In fact, the aim is to prevent human suffering overall, and so they're serving one another and they're doing what they can to provide aid and comfort to the sick and suffering, to link together all the children of the world in a chain of friendship. Those are some of the things that they have a mandate to do, and that's how we develop them. We give them skills so that they're able to do that and to make the country a better place. We did a little assessment of a number of communities when we wanted to start helping in various ways, and we discovered that this was a very vulnerable community on different fronts, so they needed assistance in different ways. The community disaster response, they wanted training in that and to be able to work, but they also have some poor health-seeking behaviors and some lack of some amenities that are critical to healthy living, and we work with them, but we're also working with them to appreciate and understand how to make change about the things that we are giving. So we're not just giving, we want you to learn and to understand why it is that that's important. So our field officer works on a daily basis with the community, working with sometimes with the youth, sometimes with the older ones, identifying persons who need skills, identifying, training them in first aid and other disciplines so that they can utilize it in the community. We again, because violence is an area that needs to be given all the attention we can, we want to reduce violence in the country. We want to in the communities as well, and once it becomes a part of you, then we can begin to see a change. So we were promoting, we're doing training in the community, but we also wanted to provide incentive, and in particular in Salt Spring, in St. James, that community has been identified with many different problems of violence and surrounding areas as well. And so we did the violence prevention training, working with the young people, and then offered a prize to the best essay and also the best poster that they could do. Interestingly enough, the young man who won was actually a victim because his stepfather was killed in violence, by violent means too. And he was touched and he made that claim. You know, he said it, that he wanted to do that because it touched his own life, and so he wanted to see how we could make. And we are glad that we're able to make the difference, but we continue. We keep working, and where we are able to offer incentives, we do. Around the world, there are some days that the Red Cross observe with each other. So anywhere you are in the world, that's happening on that particular day. And so on the second Saturday in September, and we started this recently, I would say perhaps certainly since this century, we have designated that day, the second Saturday, as World First Aid Day. What we're trying to do is to bring attention to the fact that everybody can be first aid trained. Everybody should be aware, because lives are being saved by persons. It's not just the paramedics and the doctors and so on, with all respect, but what is done before they get to that point is usually life-saving. And so we want to call people's attention to the need for everyone to be first aid trained, as many persons as possible.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
The main aim of this project is to build community resilience, and an assessment was conducted that would have unveiled some of the challenges which this community is facing.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life surrounds art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Donald Sham is the field coordinator at the Jamaica Red Cross. His job is to coordinate the activities under the Jamaica Red Cross's Resilience in the Americas project. He has been actively engaging the community of Seabright Gardens since 2014.
The main aim of this project is to build community resilience, and an assessment was conducted that would have unveiled some of the challenges which this community is facing. And the RITA project focuses on 4 geo-communities across Jamaica. So in Kingston and St. Andrew, we focus on Mavis Bank and Seabright Gardens, and in St. James we focus on Salt Spring and Stonehenge. Now for the Seabright Gardens community, we know that when we did the IPA, the Integrated Participatory Assessment, and as well as with the input of some of the community members, we discovered that they were challenged, they had water and sanitation challenges, right? So what the intervention that we employed as a means of mitigating or eliminating this problem was the FAST training, and this is the Participatory Hygiene and Sanitation Transformation, or the WASH, Wash, Water and Sanitation Hygiene. So these are courses, our training that we'll be conducting every month, and we have also done a complete course as well with the mother, the parents and everybody, but then we'll also be rolling out where we teach persons proper hygiene, water and sanitation practices so that we can eliminate the issue of transferring of germs and water, vector-borne disease and stuff like that, so we can tackle the hygiene and sanitation issues that we have been having in Seabright Gardens. As well, we would have also done some work on the communal bathrooms because some of them were in a deplorable condition, so we would have gone in and would have installed new toilets, showers, we would have also done some painting and just general refurbishing, changing out of the doors, painting the bathrooms and giving them a facelift. Yes, so that is how we would have tackled that problem. And then we've also, in addition to the FAST, we also did the CDRT training where we just had display the CDRT team. But then again, we also did some scholarships because one of the things that we discovered in the IPA, the assessment was that there are children who are leaving school and they are just hanging out, loitering on the street, not having anything to do in the daytime. So we provided grants for persons so that they could further enhance their capacity in terms of skills training. So recently we just had 7 persons who received vocational and skills training grants to attend the St. Pius Training Center coming September. Yes, and in addition to this now, the projects have lifespans, right? And after the RITA project has ended, we'd want continuation of the interventions that we came in and did. So what we did was that we installed a community-based organization. The CDRT team is the core of that, all right? So what this community-based organization will do now is that they will take on the intervention. They are the ones who will take over on the interventions that the RITA project came in with, right? So they are the ones who are now going to ensure that the communal bathrooms are up. These persons are also training FAST as well, so they can go around and conduct FAST sessions. So they are basically going to be filling the booths that we would have left on. So we gave them a start and they are going to be continuing on what we started. And the CDC, the Seabright Garden CDC, the Community Development Committee, they are going to be the parent company that oversees this organization to ensure that the organization stays together. So they will have monthly meetings. So after the RITA project has ended, these initiatives would be in safe hands as it relates to continuation and development. And these persons would have received training in meeting management, leadership skills, proposal writing. So if there are any issues in the community and they have a project that they want to take on, the SDC, which is one of our partners, the Social Development Commission, would have come in and done some capacity building as a means of empowering these individuals so that they can be able to manage the affairs of their community effectively and to build their community resilience and to take over and just to operate as an organization within themselves and to take care of the community and uplift the community and in doing so empowering themselves. That was a demonstration on the CDRT team. That was one of the interventions that the RITA project, the Resilience in the Americas project, has carried out in Seabright Gardens. As you know, resilience is about being able to bounce back after natural disasters. So the main aim of this project is to build community resilience. So that is one of the aspects. Now, an IPA would have been conducted within the community. That is an integrated participatory assessment. And from this IPA, we would have uncovered some challenges that the community is facing. And one of the interventions that we undertook was to install a CDRT team in the community, just in the event of a natural disaster, that these members are able to act as first responders. So these persons are trained in first aid, light search and rescue operation, and the like. So in the event of a natural disaster, they are the ones who would respond first, because whenever you have a natural disaster, roads are deemed impassable and the other external emergency services may not gain immediate access to the community. So it is very wise that you have educated individuals in the community who can act in emergency cases and to cater for the community members until outside helps arise. So what we saw there was a display of the CDRT team members. They a fainting scenario where somebody faints and they put them in a recovery position. Yes, and as I said before, they are trained in light search and rescue operation, cardio, CPR, cardio, pulmonary resuscitation and the like. So these persons can act in the case of an emergency. And one of the successes that we have of this training was that these persons are certified first aiders. So outside of a disaster happening in the community, in the day-to-day running of the community, somebody may get in an emergency situation and yes, choking and as irregular fires, burnouts, and these persons are trained to respond in these scenarios. So this is in the essence, the true essence of building community resilience, because we have persons in the community who are trained in first aid who can cater for the community and act in emergency cases until outside help arrives. In the event of an emergency, someone gets a cut or there are burns and somebody needs emergency assistance, that kit is equipped with the necessities that can take care of that person in any emergency situation. Yeah, so that is basically the first aid kit, what it contains. Yes, and these persons are also equipped with CPR masks, so in the case that they have to do any cardiopulmonary resuscitation, they can put it over the person's head and do what they have to do. The persons get flashlights, they get a chainsaw, whenever, because in a disaster situation, you know, there may be trees or debris blocking the road, so this person can use the chainsaw to remove debris. They have the shovels, the machetes, the pickaxe that they can use to conduct their operation in the event of an emergency. These persons have gotten gloves, protective goggles, they got a bullhorn, hard hats, they are equipped with vests. So in addition to getting a main kit, they also have individual kits as well that they can respond effectively in case of emergencies. Normally, some of the misses are associated with the faints. They say you should get a shoe and put over their mouth, you should slap the person, make the person smell salt, but there are proper procedures. Those are just myths, and if you go there, somebody faints and you go and you slap the person, you may cause additional damage. So this was just basically the person checking for breathing. Somebody faints, there are correct procedures in which you have to follow. So you go there, you check for breathing, you tilt, you hold the chin and you tilt the head back to open the airway so that the person can breathe effectively. You go there now, so you check for breathing, you check if the person is responding. So once the person is breathing and there's a pulse, you know that the person has just fainted. So you'll just put the person in a recovery position until the person is fully revived. But if there's no breathing and the person is unconscious, then you'll perform CPR on that person until emergency services arrives. So you do CPR until you get an ambulance.
I wanted to be an educator because I believe that education is the most powerful weapon that can change the world.
My dreams and aspiration is to one day become an entrepreneur where I can employ other persons and help to build the country.
I wanted to go into development. I wanted to help people become better versions of themselves. Growing up, I saw a lot of violence, I saw a lot of crime, I saw a lot of poverty. The challenges are so many. The first one that comes to mind is the level of youth unemployment that's here.
Challenges that exist here in West Prospect Bogwalk are lack of awareness for educational opportunities or job opportunities.
Not many got the chance to do CXC or graduate from the secondary level. So that's a major setback for the people living in the community.
A way to alleviate this issue is training programs.
They need more opportunities, like to go back to school to get themselves a certificate so they can be able to work and create employment for themselves and their family.
Push more entrepreneurship opportunity, encourage these youths to be creative and innovative in what they do. Give them startup capital to start their business. Invest more in the youth skills and talents.
The Poverty Reduction Program is funded by the European Union, and it really is a program that focuses on the most vulnerable type of communities, making communities safer, making citizens more healthy, better access to education.
For European Union, investing in youth is an obvious choice. They are the future of the country. If we prepare them well, they will bring the change that Jamaica needs. That's why we invest in scholarships, internship, training in life skills and mentorship.
I received a tertiary scholarship from PRP to attend the University of Technology, Jamaica. It meant a lot to me because I realized that somebody else believed in me and somebody saw the potential that I have and somebody believed that I could actually achieve my goal.
I benefited by getting firstly an internship, and also they assisted my bachelor's degree financially. But critically, outside of the finances, the persons that were on the project, the motivation that they provided, etc., it really provided a huge boost.
This is my third year at the MICO. This scholarship, it helped me to be able to focus only on my education here, because tertiary education is not cheap.
I was placed at ODPEM on the one-year internship program. It was really good. It was an opportunity for me to prove myself, to give myself a service, and also to gain experience in the working world, and to also provide for my family.
I plan to be an agent of change in my community by being a mentor, a leader, and a godfather for the youths growing up. Try to help them teach them a trade.
You don't have to be rich to help. You don't have to achieve greatness to start. I contributed to my basic school by providing them with the necessary resources that they need, that I believe that in the long run, it will have a ripple effect on many, many persons.
Professionally, I manage the Hope program, which is aimed at giving young persons the opportunity to, do what I did, basically, to get their foot inside an organization. Additionally, I also have a little small business that I try to employ young persons to learn a skill, etc.
When you're persistent in life, when you're determined, when you're hungry for success, then you'll be able to accomplish and achieve anything that you want.
It has changed hundreds and hundreds of lives. Not just my life, my family lives, my friends' lives, etc. I want to just urge everyone looking on to continue these social programs. These are the solutions to the many ills that we face as a society and as a country and even as a world. So thank you, and I challenge you, continue it. It's needed.